I don't usually pick up strangers, not anymore. Not since what happened that night on Route 94. It was late October, almost midnight, and I was driving home after visiting my sister. She lives about 2 hours away, so I'd taken the back highways to avoid the Friday night traffic. The roads out there are flat, dark, and lonely, just endless stretches of farmland broken up by the occasional gas station or faded diner sign. The sky was moonless, and my headlights cut a sharp tunnel through the black. I had the radio on low, just enough to keep me awake, when I saw her. A girl, standing on the shoulder. She couldn't have been more than 20. Long hair hanging loose, pale dress down to her knees. She was barefoot, her arms wrapped around herself like she was freezing. For a second I thought she was an illusion, some trick of my tired eyes. But when my headlights swept over her, she raised one arm, a small, hesitant wave. I slowed down, my gut twisted, telling me to keep going, but something about her stopped me. Maybe it was the way she looked lost. Maybe it was guilt, the thought of leaving someone alone out there. So I pulled over. She opened the passenger door without a word and slid in. "Cold night," I said, trying to break the silence. She nodded once. Her face was pale, almost too pale, but her eyes were tired, heavy, like she hadn't slept in days. "Where you headed?" I asked. She whispered an address. I recognized the street. It was in town, maybe 10 miles from my place. I drove. For a while, the only sound was the hum of the tires on the asphalt. She sat with her hands folded neatly in her lap, her head tilted slightly, watching the road. "You all right?" I asked finally. She nodded again. Then, so softly I almost missed it, she said, "Thank you." No one else would stop. I wanted to ask why she was out there, barefoot and alone, but something about her tone made me stay quiet. We passed under a streetlight. For a brief moment, the cabin filled with yellow glow. I glanced over at her. She wasn't there. My chest seized. My hands locked on the wheel. I blinked hard. Once, twice. She was back, sitting exactly as before, eyes on the road, hands folded. I didn't say anything. I just kept driving. When we finally reached the address, I pulled to the curb. It was an old two-story house, porch sagging, paint peeling, but every window was dark. "This it?" I asked. She nodded, reached for the door handle. But before she got out, she turned to me for the first time. Her lips parted, her eyes met mine, and she whispered, "Tell my mother I made it home." Then she opened the door and stepped out. She didn't close it. By the time I leaned over to pull it shut, she was gone. Not walking up the path, not on the sidewalk, just gone. I sat there shaking. The house loomed silent in front of me. Finally, I forced myself out of the car. The front porch creaked under my weight. I raised a hand and knocked. After a long pause, the porch light flicked on. An older woman answered, gray hair, robe, lines carved deep into her face. "Sorry to bother you," I stammered, "but I think I just dropped your daughter off. She told me to tell you she made it home." The woman's face went still. Her eyes filled, just for a moment, with something I couldn't name. She shook her head slowly. "My daughter died 20 years ago. Car accident. Out on Route 94. I couldn't breathe. She still tries to come home sometimes." The woman whispered, "You're not the first." I stumbled back to my car, heart pounding so hard I thought I'd faint. When I got inside, I froze. On the passenger seat lay her folded white dress, still damp from the night air.